Hello and welcome to the last word on Spurs. We do hope you're keeping very, very safe and well. We are back for the big match preview at Brighton to come tomorrow night, of course, for Tottenham Hotspur. Huge game, as of course Spurs look to continue and consolidate their form inside that top four. I'm joined by three great returning guests to Last Word on Spurs. I'm joined by the brilliant Jason McGovern, the superb Christina Zandes, and the brilliant Tim over at Spurs Song Sheets there. Tim, of course, you heard Tim there in the intro. You'll be hearing Tim midway and to close us here on Last Word on Spurs. Jace, love to see you back on, mate. I know it's been a crazy time for you generally this year, to put it least. Mate, lovely to see you at the weekend, of course, with that win against Everton. 3 successive wins on the bounce for Tottenham. I think it's fair to say that Spurs sitting in the top four on Christmas Day would represent some form of a success in the way the season has topsy-turvied with Spurs, of course, in the summer, of course, when you look at the injuries Spurs sustained in terms of the start to the season, Harry Kane departing. How do you sum up, Jace, where we are right now in this Ange Postecoglou project for you?
Well, just first of all, thanks to all the nice messages and that I've had, which has been much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, it was a big win against Everton, an important win. We certainly had to fight hard for it and make heavy work of it. But I think I was one of those that did think we'd have a great chance of having a decent season, even minus Harry, just because I just thought Europe would catch up with one or two of those teams. And you look at Newcastle, and they've had injury problems, and I think Man United have had some big injuries as well, and Europe, and that has been costly to a few of those teams, and we've been able to take advantage apart from that little spell that we had. But I think I think most people have bought into Ange Ball a lot quicker. We can see what the potential is under it. I don't think we've seen it really yet for 90 minutes, if I'm honest, during the season, which is a good sign really, because if we're fourth with all the injuries that we've had and we still haven't really played, for me, a really good solid 90 minutes. At Newcastle, we were pretty good, but in all, I think Everton kind of summed up. Oh, and Everton have just got 1-0 up. Dear, oh dear. Everton kind of sums up what it is. We play well for 20, 25 minutes, and we then lose control of a game, and that's probably the one thing that I think we desperately need to try and find a way without changing the style. Is somehow we've got to keep control of games a lot better, because even on that Everton game there was a little bit with about 2 or 3 minutes to go where we got caught on the break at home. You're thinking, we're 2-1 up at home, how the hell are we being caught out on the break? And I think that was when they hit the crossbar and it almost went in for for 2-2. So, you've got to keep control of games better. But by then you've got Skip and Højbjerg on, and we know that's not the primary midfield, and Eric Dyer's on by then and things. So, maybe that's a little bit harsh until we get that proper team, and then the backup players to also be ones that he really wants, not obviously Eric Dyer and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who've done okay, but clearly they're not the ones that he wants.
Jay's got to say, there's lots of lovely messages pouring in for you here. I mean, I must thank you, mate, for, like I say, coming back. I know it's been a difficult time. Our love is with you, of course. It's obviously a difficult time, mate. Thank you so much. Chris, bringing you in. Obviously, I was with you at the weekend. Obviously, we watched this Everton game. I think it's fair to say that we made life difficult for ourselves to some degree, but then Spurs, of course, are bouncing back from a major blip in November and December to register victories in the last 3 games. And the table at the moment makes really good reading for Spurs in terms of where Tottenham would want to be at the moment, given the fact, like we're saying at the moment, that we have got live football being played as we speak. So, as we know, football will change in terms of the table throughout these next 24, 48 hours. But I think you've got to say at the moment, Spurs sitting there currently in the top 4 as things stand. Chris, what did you make for you of that performance, that result at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Everton? And I must warn viewers and listeners, your voice might not be as what it would normally be. So just to give them a heads up as well, in case there's any concern as to where your voice box has gone in the last 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, I haven't been very well. So, but yeah, it was really good to see you guys. Even Tim, great to see you performing last week as well. Yeah, I mean, we should be pretty proud of ourselves where we are right now, especially due to the circumstances that we're in right now. It's just to me, it's such a shame because I feel like we could be we would be in a lot better position if it wasn't for this injury crisis that we're going through at the moment. But it is what it is. It's just like we can't catch a break at the moment, especially now with the Romero news that's come in. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to really hit us. That is. And even, the Everton game, I was a bit on the edge of my seat, especially towards that end. I was really nervous then. I thought it was going to be another replay of that West Ham game that we had. But we did it. We stuck through it, and we got the result, and we got those 3 points, which I thought is always the important thing at the end of the day. But, exactly like what Jason said, this is Ange Postecoglou. He's taken over at Tottenham. He's doing a remarkable job so far. It's just showing so much improvement with our play, with everything that has been going on. Even as soon as you set foot in that stadium, you can see and feel the change that has happened, and it's just amazing to be witnessing this at the moment. And I'm fully enjoying it, and I'm fully behind Andrew with it all. But I said it on this podcast, I think in the last one, where I said that this is just the warm up for us. So I feel a lot more is to come, and there's going to be a lot more exciting things to come for Tottenham.
I think, like we know, I mean, the fair thing is at the moment that we're not at our absolute peak best, which I think does excite people that we can only get better. And again, like we have to remind ourselves the injury front where Spurs stand at the moment, which we are going to come on to. It is quite a frightening place. Tim, loves you back on Arsenal and Spurs. We're seeing you and those dulcet tones in the stadium a lot more often now than what it was. How are you, my friend? Loves to have you back on. How much are you enjoying being back in that stadium? And I'm sure it's even sweeter and better, obviously, of course, when we're winning like we are.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for having me back on the show. It's great to be back on with Chris and Jace. Obviously, thoughts to Jace as well. I spoke to you before about what's gone on. Yeah, amazing. I mean, the atmosphere this season. I've been up and played twice, and one was the Villa game. What was quite weird actually was the Villa game we lost, and I played afterwards, and actually people stuck around. It wasn't, although it was a game we should have won. And everyone knows we should have won it and had it won by by half time really. You just, like Chris is banging on, the atmosphere is just, it's a complete difference to last year. I think I watched 3 games and played at 3 games, and all 6 games last year, somehow we won all of them. But none of them were convincing. They were all edgy of seat stuff, back foot defending. It's just a complete change. I sort of sat in the south and watched the first half hour where we just came out like a train, and it's just brilliant. So we played some lovely stuff. I thought we played some great stuff, and particularly that first 30 minutes. But then, as we all know, we've got injury ravaged team, and you could just slowly see. I knew they were going to score. I was just praying it gets like maybe the 88th, 89th minute where we might hang on for. That's where my mindset is at the moment. We might hang on for 2-1 sort of thing. So when they scored, I could just see what was going to happen. And it is a bit like that. It's a bit flimsy. 2-0's a flimsy result, a flimsy lead for Spurs at the moment. But you got to give it to the lads here. They dug in, and we're getting ourselves into these positions. If you think under Conte, when we kept going behind in games, we're just constantly going ahead. So even if we end up getting pegged back, we're not coming from, at the moment anyway, from losing positions. I think that's making a massive difference. The way we're starting games is really quick, catching teams off, scoring early. We knew Everton could play low blocks, so to score early was crucial. And that's really helping us, I think, at the moment. We just got to try and get through. Again, the news today is just another blow, isn't it? Get through these games. You look at the fixtures. I know we're going to come on to it later, but they're not ridiculously scary in my eyes. So, just and hope obviously other teams sort of start screwing up as well. But great to be back in there. And just sort of feel like Jazz was so frustrated from where we were or who we got out. What could have been, but you got to look at it like Chris says. Maybe that this is a warm up season and it's a bit of a free hit, isn't it, this year?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's where your expectations are at the moment, really, to be honest with you. I mean, some would be absolutely like that we're sitting there in the top four. We're 4 or 5 points off the very top as we record at the moment. And there'll be some that are really, really frustrated thinking, had we kept the 7-8 key players fit, where could Tottenham be? Jason's come around to you to discuss the latest of Spurs' injuries that have occurred in this last 24, 48 hours. And that Spurs have been given a fresh blow now, with Ange Postecoglou confirming that Cristian Romero will be silent for up to 5 weeks with a hamstring strain, which forced him off at the half-time in Saturday's 2-1 against Everton. Of course, Spurs are already without Romero's centre-back partner in Micky van der Ven, who has been injured since the 6th of November. Postecoglou is hopeful the Dutchman will be back to face Manchester United, which currently falls on January the 14th. So, of course, mid-January as things stands. Of course, Romero is yet another major blow for a depleted Spurs, with Postecoglou now facing the choice of the out-of-favour Eric Dyer, fullback Emerson Royale, or youngster Ashley Phillips to partner Ben Davies for the next 3 games. Jace, thoughts on yet another injury for Tottenham this season? They just keep on coming.
They do. And the strange thing was, Sky put that graphic up the other day about number of days injured, and there's about 9 or 10 who've had more days injured than Tottenham have. So that baffled me, I must admit. I thought we'd have been right up the top, but obviously not. Obviously, Micky van der Ven hopefully is back for some of those games. That Man United game is obviously the really eye-catching one for us. I like the way, Rick, you've already put us in the FA Cup 4th round, so nice to see we've already beaten Burnley. I put TBD there to be decided, hoping, fingers crossed, we don't do any mess ups. But perhaps from a league point of view, I know the cup games are massive for you, Rick, but from a Premier League point of view, it's probably quite handy. There are two FA Cup weekends in there, so it does give you a chance to get people back. And like I say, I think you kind of have to offset that against when Van der Ven comes back. So, I mean, if Van der Ven is back for some of that definitely helps us a little bit, although presumably he'll have to shift right or and Ben Davies will still stay on the left. But, it's also the fact that it's not just Romero, is it? We'll miss Sarr, we'll miss Mitoma, we'll miss Sonny for most of those games as well. And, you got to think, I mean, Richie's goals have been most welcome because that affects Sonny, but you can't do anything about them. They're frustrating. They're hurting us for sure. You saw last night Villa missing 2 players, and they were, even when they were 2-0 up against Man United, they were all over the place. So we've seen other teams with 1 or 2 injuries suffer a lot, and we're just constantly plagued with them. So I just get the feeling that's what it's going to be all season, mate. The great thing is Postecoglou just doesn't moan about it, does he? He just gets on with it. Doesn't let it. Says it's not an excuse. It's times in adversity where you have to find out how good you are, and that's what he's doing. And but it is frustrating to know how many points we could be on if we'd have had everyone fit. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chris, bringing you in, Postecoglou said it's not so great with Romero. He had the scan the other day. He's got a hamstring injury, so probably going to get 4 to 5 weeks. We know, of course, with Spurs' fixtures the way they fought at the moment, that Romero, as things stand, is going to likely miss, as we obviously have shown our watching audience, Brighton in the Premier League, Bournemouth at home in the Premier League, Burnley, of course, as well in the FA Cup, Man United away, FA Cup 4th round of Spurs are there, and Brentford. So he's missing, I mean, you could argue and say that he's missing games that
ultimately Spurs should maybe have enough. But look, it's coming at a time where we know that Spurs are being really, really stretched. And to give that some context, we know that come January, Spurs are going to be without Heung-Min Son, Yves Bissouma, Pat Matassar, of course, Romero, Bentancur, Solomon, Sessegnon, Perisic. And we await, obviously, of course, updates on Van der Ven and Maddison in terms of their recovery in January. Chris, can you believe what you're witnessing here in terms of Spurs' injury crisis? It just doesn't seem to ever look like it's going to even out for us at the moment.
It's just such a shame, isn't it? I mean, every Premier League game, of course, is important. But to me, what frustrates me is the start of this FA Cup as well, where to me, FA Cup should be a priority for Tottenham this season. You know, with no European games, I feel like we should really, well, especially without the other cup game that, we're out now. But I just always feel like FA Cup should be a priority for Tottenham. And it's just going to be really frustrating if we don't see something good happen in those games with all of our players now out. Well, our most important players, But I don't want to be too negative on the injuries because I saw a lot of, negativity comments about, Dyer and Davis. But you know what? I actually think Ben Davis has been playing actually really good so far. And if he keeps that up, I'm happy with that for sure. So, and, again, well, with the City game, we had Davis and Emerson Royale and we got the job there. So we got a point, but, that's Man City away. I was more than happy with that result. So I do think we are capable of doing something, even with some of those players gone. It's just a case of, with Micky van der Ven as well, I'm hoping that he'll be back very, very soon. Maddison, I don't know if that's going to be end of January, start of February. So I'm trying to see positive out of this. And I don't know if it's just because I have a lot of faith with Ange as well. So I don't want to be too negative on it, but it is going to be a big, miss with Romero because I think he's been sensational this season as well. There's been a lot of drama with him, but all around, I think he's been absolutely brilliant how he's played. Even scored, he's even got a goal for us this season so far. My number one issue that I have with it is actually Sonny, us missing our captain. I think that's going to be very, very tough with us. I'll be interested to see what you guys think of who will be captain whilst he's out. I actually don't know who I'd pick for this. But, obviously Sonny's just such an important role to our team at the moment. I feel he's just completely changed the team, being captain. He just makes, with the other players, you can see that he wants to get the best out of everyone. And I think that's such an important role being a captain. So yeah, that's a real big concern for me is having our captain not there on the team. I don't know, what you guys think would be for another captain who would take over.
I can see Jason's easy coming. Go on, Jason.
Just going to say also on the injuries, Ange alluded to it the other day, and it is something we don't even consider. When we look at that list of injuries, we just automatically think of how it affects us on a match day. But he said you can't even train properly. If you want to have, like most teams will have a proper 11-a-side game between the squad, you try and pick 2 11s from our side at the moment to have a 30-minute game at proper intensity in training, or to work on partnerships, or to do patterns of play when you got no left. I mean, when you look at that, Solomon, Sessegnon, Perisic, that's the entire left side, if you like. So to try and get 2 11s and to have intensive training sessions between first team, we don't realise that, and just the disruption that it causes to us. And that's without, as you say, players going on AFCON, players on international duty. So, but I think to answer, I think probably Ben Davis will end up being captain just as the longest serving player. There's no Bentancur, is there? So, I mean, he's one you might have looked at. Otherwise, there's probably only Kulusevski that talks, or maybe Højbjerg or something, but I can't really see him picking Højbjerg when he didn't even start Højbjerg against Everton. No. So, although obviously with Sarr missing, he'll probably have to start Højbjerg. It'll be Højbjerg, Skip in centre and midfield and things. So, and maybe he'll go Skippy. I just don't know. But I think Ben Davies is the one who obviously has captained Wales lately. He's the senior player. He does like Ben Davies for sure. And I think, whatever we talk about Ben Davies in terms of his abilities and things like that, nobody can ever question how professional he is and his his attitude and desire to play for the club. And when you think, if he read social media, he's constantly criticised just on every front. If he has a good game, it's people giving him a bit of grudging respect or something like that. But his attitude and that, and is exemplary. So I think it probably will be him.
What do you think?
Probably deserves to be, in fairness.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jason. I know in the years gone down. I mean, you've always mocked me a little bit for saying he's a 6 out of 10, Ben 10. I think he's definitely earned this captaincy. I think for the next few games. I mean, when you consider players have had to step up and really, really take the game by the scruff of the neck, take the game by the mantle, he for me has been one of the most important players to have done that. And do you know what I love about Ben's attitude is that he's not played many, many games at the start, and which could always frustrate a player, a new manager coming in. And yet there's been no sulking, there's been no money, which there's never been really with Ben. He literally just plays and plays, doesn't moan, gets on with it. If he gets dropped for the next game, not a problem. He'll fit in there as a squad member, still push the players in training. I mean, if you want a model professional, I know Lee got a little bit of stick for calling him the James Milner without maybe the trophies. But I think that's fair, because I think he is the ultra professional. And I think he does set the standard, Jace, for the rest of the squad.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think he might have been around for all 3 cup finals. He's never started any of them. And yet he still doesn't moan. And he's still here. That's the great thing. There's never a drama. You never hear him kicking up a fuss. So, perhaps he knows that anywhere after Tottenham's going to be downhill rather than anywhere else. So he's can stick around. But that shouldn't be held against him. No, he's a brilliant professional for us. And he's having a really good season, in fairness.
He is. I mean, Tim, do you have a preference in terms of the captaincy at the moment? We know you love Sonny. And I think it's fair to say you're Sonny's
last game.
I don't think the club actually confirmed it yet. I mean, I think there was murmurs it may be Burnley in the FA Cup, but I don't think the club actually confirmed when he'll be missing the game. And I think Ange, to be fair, given the injury crisis, is trying to keep it very, very close to the chest in terms of the players that they've got.
It will depend, obviously, when Maddison's back as well. Because if Maddison was to be back for that Man United game, then there's your captain.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tim, there'll be call to Vicario to maybe be captain, given his absolutely sensational start in a Spurs shirt. I mean, I know, again, you love Sonny. There's that wonderful, iconic Sonny song now that you're once again delivering for us in the stadium. Where do you stand, Tim, on the current captaincy in these next 3-4 games?
If it wasn't Ben Davies, I would even before I would have given it to Kulusevski, because I just lead by example. He's just been immense, hasn't he, this season? And taking games by the scruff of the neck, absolute workhorse, model professional. He does talk on the pitch, so I'll be giving it to Kulusevski if he wasn't Ben Davies. Again, you just got to look at it like these players have had to come in, and imagine Ben had not performed where he's at. I mean, like you said, he's just not played many games start the season, just slotted in and just been immense. In particular, a few of the games, Forest away was just unbelievable. So I'd definitely be giving it to Ben. If not, then Kulusevski if he wants to go down a different road. Like you said, the problem is, because Sonny's been there for so long, and he's just the nicest guy in football, isn't he? That is a big miss. I do agree with Chris. It's more than just a miss of the player, is what I'm trying to say. So, it's going to be tough. I mean, what I would say, again, being a slightly pessimistic Spurs fan when we're coming to these games, you think, oh my God, we're injury ravaged. Even at City away, we still had a go, haven't we? We've had a go in every game. That is a bit of a change from when we've been in this position, or maybe we haven't been in this position before with as many injuries or suspensions. But it's kind of played out like I expected it to, whereas so far this season it hasn't, because like Jason says, Ange hasn't moaned about it, he's just got on with it, which does, and that obviously reflects onto the team, doesn't it? So if it was a Conte, God, you can imagine what he'll be saying out of this if he was in a press conference, and then the team listening to that. It's that half full, half empty thing, isn't it? So he's sort of saying, we can't use an excuse, and then that rubs onto the players, and whoever he puts out there has a go. Even players that are maybe more limited at playing, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, particularly when we go into January. I watched Ali Gold this morning, so I think they're sort of saying it might be early. It is early Jan, so he should be. Well, as in Son is available for the last couple of December games. Yeah, but again, you just got to look at the fixtures. I mean, they're bad. We got three home games in there, including the FA Cup game. So especially with the Romero news, I mean, it could be worse. I know, just in terms of who we're playing, home fixtures. If it was like City away or City at home and stuff, it'd make a big difference. But I just think we should have enough to get by. But as we've seen when we lost those few games in a row, we might not. I don't know. It's just exciting to know. But yeah,
Bournemouth
imagine
are one of the most informed teams of the lot, aren't they?
True.
They're
Yeah,
lying
yeah,
at Bournemouth and scoring goals and
but that's why I think
absolutely destroyed Man United at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
They're playing
crazy
really well.
season.
Bournemouth.
yeah. But I think that's why that general consensus, Jace, that Everton was not going to be an easy game. I said to you beforehand that I'm really, really nervous about that game because Everton come into the game, I think, as one of the most, if not the informed team in the Premier League, 4 consecutive wins. Like I say, 3 of them away from home, looking really, really strong, really resilient. And, you know, we've had Everton sides turn up at Spurs before. And I always laugh and joke, Jace. You always say to me, Everton's not normally one of the fixtures you tend to worry about when it's at Goodison Park. But I think these games now, I think, as we've said, look, the Premier League is one of the most unforgiving leagues in the world. And if you are not on it 110% and you are not relentless, you will get punished. So, look, I think for Tottenham, it's a big, big January transfer window to come. I'm sure Jason will love me saying that. But I think it really is.
What struck me with Everton on Saturday was they were completely the opposite to what I would have said they would be. For those first 20 minutes, they were so open, so easy to get through. And you think the one thing Dyche will do is have them organised and they'll be hard to break down and things. And yet we were 2-0 up. We could have been more than that because there was the Brennan Johnson chance that you got to score.
Yep.
So, I mean, you have to score that. I think maybe the defender just got a tight little nick on it just as Johnson got there when I saw it back. But, you know, we were just opening them up with ease. And yet at the other ends, they were actually going forward and playing some really nice. They weren't hoofing it or anything like that. They were playing nicely through midfield. And I thought, this is the complete opposite of what I thought a Sean Dyche team would be. It just really surprised me with Everton Saturday. And they play some really good football at times.
Well, I think we all felt the feeling, James. Don't you guys agree that I think how that game got on 10, 15 minutes more, I think there would have been some real concerns. I mean, again, that last minute with, of course, Rob Daly sharing just how close Everton got to scoring. Chris, I'm sure your heart was in your mouth, right? I think we all were relieved when full time came around.
Oh, that was really painful, that game. Well, it was such a relief when we won it, honestly, because I was really afraid of that. I was literally having flashbacks to that West Ham game. I was thinking, why did I buy myself a ticket? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen. But, you know, we did it finally. But, I can't believe Everton. I mean, just the fact that they're actually now beating Man City right now, it's pretty impressive what he's doing with Everton at the moment. I've got to give full credit to them. It was, you know, that first 20 minutes, we looked amazing. I don't know if it was just because of how open they were, Everton, and they just allowed us all to go through. We should have got more goals in that game. We should have just put it to bed with 3 goals, I thought. But honestly, that second half, they were amazing, the football that they were playing, Everton. They just weren't allowing any of us to go through. And I thought that goal that was just didn't go through the line, did it? All the way. I thought that was in. But yeah, it was an incredible game. But if you were a neutral, but for being a Spurs player, oh my gosh, that was horrific. But I'm so glad that we got those 3 points because I think, you know, with what's to come now, it is really crucial with everything that we can get right now. So, you know, January's coming up, guys. I'm trying to be as positive as possible. January is coming up soon. So we're nearly almost, you know, we're nearly done. Our players are going to start to come very, very soon, I think. So I just want my players back. I want to see that lineup, you know, against, you know, when we had like Crystal Palace away. I just can't wait to see that lineup again. I miss that Tottenham already. But, you know, let's be positive about it, guys, because I think maybe now is the time that we can maybe start to bring in our youngsters, you know, see what they can do. Maybe this is a chance to see, you know, what they've got. So, you know, it's either way. See what Ange can do with the players that we've got right now, and then, you know, just go from there and give it the best. Because I said it before, you know, Tottenham just usually sit back with situations like this, and I'm just glad with the fact that we're actually going for it now. We're actually trying to get as whatever we can do with as little as possible. So, you know, let's just try and be positive throughout this, and, you know, and try not to be too negative with the players that we have got. Like I said, with Ben Davies, I think he's been really, really good for us so far. So if he can keep up with it, I'm happy.
Chris, your words will be music Daniel Levy's ears. Can we see more youth players? I think there'll be many banging down the door on January 1st saying, why is the signings not here? Why is the signings not here? Jason's absolute.
You'll be one of them.
I'll be one of them. I'll be at the front leading it. Don't you worry, Jace. I'll be there, most certainly with the candles at the front. And this is what we are going to do. We are going to go for our first break of the show for our listeners on audio. Taking us that break, you're going to hear from the wonderful Tim Winstone kicking us off with a bit of Destiny, a doggy, and co. Can Spurs get a doggy back? And fingers crossed, who knows what is possible. We're over to you guys. We're back in a couple of minutes. Hello and welcome back. God, we're on an excess airplane here at the moment. Hello and welcome back to the most croakiest last one on Spurs we've had in a while. Got to everyone currently surviving out there, trying to fight the form of illness at the moment. God, this is London for you. I don't think we're sending it to our overseas viewers and listeners again. As always, thank you so much for all your incredible support for the show here. A Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you so much for joining us, putting Jason McGovern, Tim Winstone and Christina Zandes on this edition of the show. Look, I know I'll bring this subject up. I've got to be very careful because there's a man on here who absolutely detests what I'm about to speak about next. So I've got to keep it very, very short and sweet. And it means I've got to start off with him. So by the time this discussion is over, it's like it never, ever happens. Jace, you know what's coming in the next couple of days. The transfer window will open. I just want to get your thoughts on it for you. I mean, look, we're in the most strangest, I think, of seasons given the amount of injuries Spurs have got. Do you have confidence in the squad that we've got, or do you honestly feel for you that we need to bring in a couple just to help and just to help the team and ultimately keep Spurs where they are, fighting in amongst, obviously, of course, that top 4 or 5 in the league?
Well, the good news is that Galatasaray will be sending Tongi back, so there's one extra. So that'll be handy when we want to roll the pitch and get it nice and flat, won't it? The centre circle will be flat anyway. The rest of the pitch won't be very good. No, I mean... Yeah, you know what? It's not actually the transfer window I hate. It's the constant. It's the 75 posts a day with just about any Tom, Dick, or Harry that's linked to us that you think absolute bollocks stories. Romano comes out with so much bollocks it's untrue. So I might as well ask my biffa bin in work what the transfer stories are because you know all these ITKs and look at the Porro saga last year and it dragged on and on and on all months until right up to 10 o'clock on the last day. We definitely need some bodies in. I think even if we had no injuries, no players away on AFCON and that, we know he wanted another centre half in the summer. So you know he clearly doesn't want Eric Dyer, and he's not ready to play Dorrington or Phillips. They've been in the squads, but he's not got anywhere near to starting one. In fact, neither of them have even been on the pitch, have they? So, against Newcastle, for instance, 4-1 up with 5 minutes to go, you could have, if you were seriously intent on them, you could have given one 5 minutes or something, but he hasn't done that. So there's definitely one there. We know that probably Højbjerg isn't his choice, so you can see that. So there's definitely business to be done, and I think it's always the case. We want it done as quickly as possible, but every club knows that we're in a position where we need players, and good players aren't that easily to get in January. Teams don't want to sell their best players, certainly not in January when they're trying to stay in leagues, or they're in Europe, or they're trying to win trophies themselves. They're not going to go and sell their best players. You don't get too many big money deals, do you? Other than Van Dijk, I can't think of a really big money deal that's happened in January. So I think it will be filling out the squad and just trying to work on those injured players to come back. But we definitely need something. It'd be interesting to see. You probably need a backup now too, Richie, don't you? With Sonny away. Yeah. Solomon's. I don't know where anywhere near Solomon is to fitness and things like that. So it is a big problem, and more bodies in is welcome. But you can't just buy for the sake of buying. That's the mistakes that we've made in the past, that we've signed players for 30 million and they've come in as a stopgap, and then 6 months later we decide they're dead wood and they're not good enough anyway. But you've wasted 30 million then, and you've got no chance of getting your money back.
Yeah, look, whilst I agree with you on that, Jason, I think the key for this window, different to other windows, is that Spurs, and I know I say this all the time, have to act early. I think when you look at the fact that, from the perspective of you look at our previous January windows, Porro on the last day of the January window, Kulusevski, Bentancur, the problem Spurs have got is that all of them, I would say for me, they're really integral key fixtures come at the start of January. So if you are bringing players in towards the end, then you've got to give them time to settle. I think we saw with Porro that ultimately came in. I think it's very much the jury was out on him. And I think this season he's been absolutely phenomenal because he's been coached, we've seen with Ange. And I think that's the key for Tottenham. Can they bring players in that can really hit the ground running? We know there's a genuine interest in Jean-Claire Todibo. It's one Spurs have held talks with the League One club, about the 23-year-old. There's been another name that has reared its head in this last 24 hours. And it has been reported from Fabrizio Romano. Both Spurs and Seville are set to present proposals to the Belgian midfielder Stanis Adambo Mazumbo from Ajax. So, again, there'll be, I'm sure, as Jason said there, continuous speculation through the month of January. I know many, like Jason, can't stand it.
Just on Todibo, I just look at that with a different hat on, and I think this is a player that's linked to Man United, and Ineos have just bought into Man United, and Ineos is the seller.
Yep.
Try work that one out.
Seems
Try work that one out. Seriously.
Why would he come to Tottenham? But again, I mean, who knows?
So Ineos will not give Tottenham a decent price when Man United want him, and if they know Tottenham want him, they say, "Well, I'll tell you what, up goes the price."
Yeah,
because you're not going to get him, and Man United then can have him in the summer. So you've got to think. It's one thing to be linked with these players, and I said the same about the Conor Gallagher one. If I look on a neutral head, right, I don't have a problem with Conor Gallagher, but you sell Tottenham to Conor Gallagher when he's captaining Chelsea, who's his boyhood club. They're in the semi-finals of a cup. He's probably going to go to Wembley with a chance, not just to play in a cup final, but to lift the trophy, and he could leave in the summer when his chances are there. But he's playing week in, week out at Chelsea. Tell me what makes sense to Conor Gallagher right now to go to Tottenham in January.
It's a genuine one that's a bit of a mystery on that one because his name keeps cropping up. And I know, Jace, you're right what you're saying, that logical-wise, there's no sense in that.
There's no sense to him at all.
No, but those links don't go away. And again, you wonder why those links keep on coming. I mean, I know from what I was told in the summer, he was a player that Ange liked a lot. So whether it's Spurs that are pushing that, but I'll be honest, as we've said on numerous times on the show, Tottenham and Chelsea last did business for Neil Sullivan, I want to say over 10, 15 years ago. And Carlo Cudicini was a free. So I don't think massively anything's going to change there. And if Chelsea, Pochettino have ambitions of catching Tottenham, why would you be selling arguably one of your most informed players to Tottenham? It makes no sense. It doesn't. Tim, bringing you in, January transfer window, where do you sit it for you? How important is it that Spurs, if they do business, it's done early in your opinion, Tim? I'm going to have to unmute Tim. Let's see if I can mute Tim.
Yeah,
We've got you, Tim. We've got you.
After today,
Spurs trying to silence the January transfer window talk. Can you blame them?
Absolutely. After today's news, absolutely critical we get it done early. I'd have said that before anyway, but I do agree with Jace. It's just silly to throw away money because it's not the time to really do business. But we're especially with the guys going off to the TAFCON and Sonny going away. We've got to get a striker and a centre half in. We just have to. He doesn't fancy Dyer for many people will argue the right reasons. So yeah, it's got to be we're talking like first week of January because look at like you said, the fixtures we've got these other players coming back. If you're not going to do that, then what's the point? If you're bringing players in at the end of January and we've got other players hopefully coming back in time, it just seems silly to do it. But we've done this like I said in the past. We bought these players in, and you're very hopeful, and it just goes nowhere. So I hope we don't waste money, and in worst case, we get a few decent loans in. Just to see us through. I mean, it's obviously easier to do loan deals than it is to buy or without getting outpriced in January. But yes, for me, a centre half and a striker because Son is going away. Richarlison, I think he's okay, isn't he? For tomorrow, he did pick up a bit of a knock with his back, wasn't it? So again, thought a bit like what I said about Ben Davies being in form. I mean, Richie's come good with the goal just when we need him, right? So. To lose him now will be really, really bad. So, yes, again, I can't imagine we'll get 3, but if we can get centre half and a backup striker, then great.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect, when you're hearing the talk, Javed Tanganga coming back, you know you're in a crisis injury-wise, don't you? I mean, we've said this last couple of months. Even I'm choking to go and get the words out here. I mean, I'm choking trying to believe that, Javed Tanganga to come back. No disrespect to him. I think Spurs at the moment.
Who's that last guy you said we were linked with? What was his name?
You're talking about Mazumbo over at Ajax.
Yeah, we're not making a song about that one. That's not going to happen.
What was he asking him? That's a tricky one, isn't it?
I can't see that working, to be honest. Jesus.
That's going to really test the brains of Spurs song sheet there. Can you get that into a song? And can you keep that lengthy-wise in terms of a minute and a half and keep it down?
Over to the listeners to come up with ideas.
Exactly. I mean, his name will be the song itself, won't it? Go on, Jace.
I was going to say, even with January as well, if you think about it, the other thing, if you're bidding £40 million for a bloke from, I don't know, doesn't matter, whoever it be, and the club thinks, all right, we can do that deal, the selling club. The selling club think, well, we can do that deal at the end of January. We might as well keep him for 3 games ourselves until the end of January. So what you're going to do, you're going to have to pay 60 million for a 40 million player in 2 weeks' time. And then you're just wasting your budget, aren't you? So, even the timing, we might want to do it early, but it's not as simple as just Tottenham turning up like supermarket sweep on the 1st of January and say, look, here's your money, give us your player, and it's all done and hands are shaking. It's, deals like that it's not done like that. No. As much as we want it to.
The selling club holds all the cards, don't they, in these situations? Yeah. They know our injury crisis as well, so they're going to have like 5 million. Yeah.
Well, listen, Daniel Levy's doing the transfer, then it's an extra 10% anyway, as we know. So it's going to be a tricky time, that's for sure. Just one thing I do want to bring up today is that Dane Scarlett has been recalled from his own at Ipswich. There'll be that sigh as well on the back of that, because that may feel that for Spurs fans, that really impacts signing a striker. I've still got to get my words out here on the back of that. That's how disappointed I am. Maybe no Yotta. I don't think Jason's that disappointed on it, but Dane Scarlett to come back, no disrespect to him. Look, made 12 sub-appearances in the Championship. And he was in impressive form so far this season. Currently occupied second place in terms of Ipswich, but just wasn't really getting game time there. So there's no point of player being there if he's not going to get the game time. So it'll be interesting if Tottenham do look to give him another loan. And Andrew was asked the question with Dane Scarlett back, if another attacker is signed, could Alejo Veliz go out on loan? He said, look, there are a lot of moving parts you're talking about there, mate. Good to get Dane back. And obviously, the loan didn't work out for him at Ipswich, which is disappointing for us because the reason we set him out was to get game time, rhythm and development. It hasn't worked out that way. He will stay with us now to the end of the season and he will train. And what opportunities may or may not come along, we will address those in the future. So it does feel that Tottenham will have Dane there to call upon, which may, for some there, rule out the possibility of Spurs looking to go into the forward market. Look, what we are going to do, we are going to go for our final break of the show for our listeners on audio. Been a long 45 minutes, you can tell. We are trying to get through it. Me and Chris are literally, I say, we're battling it here. Bless. Tim is there. Jason is here as well. I say we wish you all I hope you had a lovely Christmas as we look again where there's a crazy football period coming. We're all going to be fighting fit because who knows what's going to happen with Tottenham. Now, what we are going to do is go for that final break of the show. Taking that break, you're going to hear from a Brighton podcaster who's very kind of giving us some time ahead of Brighton to come tomorrow. Jace, let's start with you. Brighton. Now, look, this offers a great opportunity for Spurs to keep on building. And I think it's fair to say that Brighton are nowhere near their best. They've got also up to 9 players out. That includes Mitoma, who, to be fair, look, he's one of the most dangerous players. Julio and Cinco, Ansu Fati, Joe Veltman, Purvis Estabanian, Adam Webster, Tariq Lamptey, and Solly March, all unavailable. Jace, are we facing Brighton at the right time, dare I say, given our own injury crisis at the moment?
Yeah, and they're not in great form themselves, are they? I think they've only won, 2 of their last 12 or something like that, Brighton. And again, they're a side that I expected to struggle because you just think the demands of Europe, particularly for Brighton, who are having to take it seriously. It's the first ever time in Europe. And they played what? They played Marseille and Ajax in their group, did they have? I mean, they're big names in Europe. So, they're types of games that, if Tottenham are in the Europa League, we tend to rotate in it to get through the group and just settle with it like Liverpool have done. But if you're Brighton and you're playing Marseille and Ajax, suddenly the game at the weekend is the one that's just seems normal to them, doesn't it? It's not exciting to be playing Aston Villa or Tottenham or something when you could be playing Ajax or Marseille as a Brighton fan. So I think that has affected them. The lack of preparation time you get for games, the travelling through it, just the general lack of training sessions and things that happen with it. So it probably is a good time to play with Brighton. And actually our record down there is, I know we had that horrific game where Hugo broke his wrist after about 2 minutes, and that was straight on top of that Bayern game. And I think we got beat, 3-0, 4-0, something like that. But that apart, we've actually done pretty well at Brighton. I think we won there last year, didn't we? Won early on with a little
Harry. Yeah, Harry
little header from Kane or something the year before, right, yeah. Romero and Kane.
Yep.
We've genuinely picked up results at Brighton by, maybe we've never played particularly well, and it's always been by the odd goal. But yeah, I do feel it's a good time to be going there. I think we're going with pretty confidence on the back of straight wins. And what's kick off? 8:15.
I think so. Earlier than that, I'm gonna double check now.
5 or 8:15 or what are we?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think what we tomorrow.
So it's not an afternoon game. I expect Tottenham can definitely go there and get a result for sure.
7:30 tomorrow. 7:30.
Oh, 1-1 Man City.
1-1.
Foden.
We will keep an eye on that if, I say, we get any further updates in this last 15 minutes. Jace, let's get a prediction from you for Brighton. What are you going to go
for? I'll go 2-1 Tottenham.
Amazing. Jake, thank you so much, mate. Love to have you back on. And I say thank you so much to all those lovely messages that Jace has received today. Like I say, you've been a massive, massive part of the show for 6-7 years. And I'm sure, like I say, Jace, you was overwhelmed with that amount of love. I'm sure at the time of...
one more thanks, Rick, I must give us also to my good mate Z-Man, who always sorts me out with that ticket. And that's fantastic how he does that all the time. So big thanks to Z-Man as well. And looking forward to seeing you in the new year, mate.
Bless you. Likewise, mate. Absolutely. Tim, let's come around to you. Big game for Tottenham, of course. Brighton to come tomorrow. Tim, at the moment, like I say, it's an injury hit Brighton's side. For them, they were about to win their last 3 as they prepare to host Spurs. A late Danny Welbeck equaliser helped Brighton avoid a disappointing result against Crystal Palace. They're certainly not in any real fine form. Give me your thoughts, Tim, on how you see it playing out, and give me your prediction for you. And we are going to have to unmute Tim. We've got you. All right. Let's try that again. You can tell one of these shows tonight, it's all comedy gold here. Tim, we'll try to unmute you back, bud. We may need Tim to unmute from his end. We could be here to the start of the Brighton game. No, we're still on mute. We're still on mute.
I've got it. I've done it. Right.
I think Romero's back for this one, lads. I think Romero's back for this one, lads. Tim, I think Maddison's also fit.
Yeah, exactly. Happy days. We've gone through the crisis. It's all good now.
Yeah, I think we're okay. I think we've got a full fit 11.
We've got 25 fitness and we've bought 6 by now.
Yeah. We've just signed Messi as well. How do you feel about that? I mean, when's his song coming in the stadium?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I'd say 2-1. I can't see us not conceding, especially the way we try to go about the games now. I just hope we have a fast start. Like you said, I checked out their form today. They're all over the shop, aren't they? So yeah, I think we are playing at the right time. Mitoma, it was released today, wasn't it? He's not playing. He's so dangerous. I like him a lot. So guy up front. So yeah, 2-1 for us. Maybe 3. Maybe 3-1. Maybe I'll push the boat out. Maybe 3-1. But if we can get a win, it's massive. It's massive.
Oh,
the more these games we just get through, and I know we are getting through them to some extent now. Yeah, it's a huge one for us. Like I said, playing them at the right time for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we can't really afford any more injuries as things stand. Tim, just to give you an opportunity, where can everybody, of course, I'm sure you're going to encourage the fact getting new songs in on the back of what's going to hopefully be a really, really big January for Tottenham. How can fans do that? How can they reach out to Spurs?
2-1.
2-1.
No.
Thank you for that, Jace. There, the video printer keeping us posted. Jace,
So
Tim, over to you.
yes.
What you go for?
Yes, it's just at Tim_Winstone on X or Twitter, whichever you want to call it, or YouTube, and or at Spurs Song Sheet. So keep the songs running. We have got a Vicario song that I've written with another guy to come a chameleon, so which is I quite like it. So yeah, just keep them coming. Again, all the Christmas songs are all sort of like a compilation of people writing in ideas and just sort of tweaking and stuff. So keep them coming. We'll keep the positivity going, and hopefully the team can keep the results coming.
I mean, just a word to him on that Vicario song. Better get it bloody out fast before the bloke does an injury. Otherwise, what's the point of the way things are going? I love it.
Hugo will be back as captain.
Oh my God, he'll be back for the FA Cup time, won't he?
I reckon we've got to get one of the ambulance themes into this, like the Nina theme. That's got to be coming to one of these songs at some point.
Honestly, I tell you, I can't make it up. Tim, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for joining us. Chris, we're going to close it with you. Look, you've been saying so much on this show for you that ultimately Spurs have to take their chances. Brighton will present another game where you feel Spurs half facing Brighton at the right time. How do you see things playing out at the MX for you?
Just a shout out to all my family that is now apparently watching on the comments. If you can see all my brothers and my dad, I can see you in the comments. But anyways, yeah. Hi, guys.
Good cut 1,000 in here, I think.
It's all the Zandes. All
yeah. Safety in numbers for sure.
But yeah, I think to be honest, I'm scared of Brighton. These last few seasons, I think they've been really good. Really, really good club, really good football. But to be fair, it is probably the best time to actually play them. It's Injury FC versus Injury FC tomorrow. So it should be good. You know what? Richarlison, I felt like we should actually mention him. I think he's been he's been doing great. So I'm hoping to see more of him tomorrow. Again, let's get some more goals for Richie. I wanted to see some more. He needs to convince me more. So yeah, tomorrow I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. It's the confidence, all about the confidence. As soon as he got those goals, goes up and up and up. So it's exactly what I want to see. I think Sonny. We've got another good chance with Sonny again. Brennan Johnson. I like him, but there needs to be more. He needs time. I think he needs time. We can't be too, we can't be too negative on him. I think he needs time. That player. He still needs to mold in with the team. That he will get there.
I think we can all see his potential, Chris. I think there's no doubt about that.
And I think he's a clever signing. I think he's an Ange signing, that's for sure. So I've got some, I've got some. Sorry, I just saw that on my dad. I think he needs time, and I think he will get there. But for tomorrow's game, you guys both said 2-1. I'm going to go for 3-1 just to make it a little bit more interesting for Tottenham tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm hoping to get 3 points, definitely.
Really good point the stat makes there.
I was just going to say on Richarlison, the big thing I noticed with him Saturday was before those goals, when that chance came his way, you'd have seen the full back lift and him try and smash it, absolutely smash it in. Whereas he just had that bit of composure to let the ball come all the way and just open his foot and let the ball almost come off his foot rather than swinging at it. And that was the big difference with Richarlison on Saturday to 2 or 3 weeks ago. Without a doubt, he would have smashed it, leaning backwards, would have gone over the crossbar.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think, again, with Richie, you'd hope now he's full of confidence, obviously scoring his last 3. There's no better time for that to continue. And I think, again, maybe the fact that the January window being open, that'll hopefully motivate him even more. The fact that he wants to keep proving he's good enough for Tottenham. And ultimately, I think 15 is the most he's got in a season. Can he match that? I think, again, if you're getting 15 from Sonny, 15 from Kulusevski, 15 from Richie, there's a really big input of goals there. And again, you sprinkle up with Maddison as well, Bentancur. You know, that's where you kind of need goals in and around the pitch. And that's what's going to be really vital for Tottenham, of course, going into that second part of the season there. The stat on the screen there says that if you compare the 11 with the 11, there is not a question. Spurs have the far superior 11 to Brighton's. The only reason Spurs will lose is if they play bland football like what happened against Wolves. And it makes a good point there. I think if Tottenham don't change their approach, don't change their stance, I think Spurs have got still on the pitch a good enough 11 to put out, which should be enough to beat Brighton, given their injury concerns. So look, we keep our fingers crossed. We're back with you as always for instant reaction from, I say, the Amex as well. Fingers crossed it'll be less croaky than today. I want to say a massive thank you to this panel. Chris, thank you so much. We wish you well in your battle against, like I say, flu-like symptoms. God, it's all happening at the moment.
No, it's horrific. Yeah, I hope everyone else, if there's any viewers that are suffering with a horrible cold or flu, whatever, as well, you're carrying on. But yeah, thanks. But yeah, well, I hope to see good football tomorrow. Hopefully that will boost me up, give me some good health. Oh, not like the stress that's from the last game, but yeah.
Pleasure as always. Thank you so much for riding the wave. Jace, thank you so much, mate. Really great pleasure to have you back on.
No problem, mate. I'll put some in the post for you.
Thank you. God, yeah. 20 packs should be absolutely fine if you don't mind.
I reckon that's what this is like the COVID special show.
I'll tell you what. Can't we postpone this one? Can't we postpone this one? Knock it off. We haven't got enough fit guests for this one. Tim, thank you so much, mate. Absolute pleasure having you back on. Hearing and singing us out is the wonderful Tim Winstone over at Spurs Song Sheet. But from myself, from Jace, from Tim, guys, you're in a lovely Christmas. We're going to be with you before New Year's. But for those that aren't around, of course, for tomorrow, we wish you a very healthy, happy New Year. Lots of love from us all here, playing us out on the last one on Spurs.
Penalty City.
There you go, the video from Jason, just to give you an update there. Jason will leave you in suspense, just like an episode of EastEnders. For all of us here, guys, keep safe, keep well. Singing us out, playing us out is the wonderful Timmy Winstone over at Spurs Song Sheets. As always, come on, you mighty Spurs.
Last Christmas, gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to. We just thought that you nice guy, so kept our distance, but don't even caught our eyes. Past the ballroom, oh how you surprised me. I've missed this feeling that is burning inside me. Merry Christmas, last year I loved Antonio, and back in lockdown I love Maria. Now I know what a fool I was, just now I really need a gaffer from us. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. 'Cause this year you saved me from tears, I gave it to. Proud as that, trying to tie lies, we're hiding from you and your pack of lies. Can't say I thought you were someone to rely on. Me, I guess I'm just a fan of the Tottenham